Welcome to the next lecture. In this part, we are going to focus on all the important rules, all the important structures from SEO perspective that we have to follow on our web page here, right? So before I mention that, when you install Yoast, when you come to the plugin in your web page, it will give you a lot of different tips on how you can improve your web page. All right, so let's together read these tips and I will explain what they are and how you should apply them. All right, so here I have written all of the tips that it has been given to this page. So let's together work on them. So here, first of all, we have two steps that you have to focus on here. The first one is readability, the ability for people to easily read what's going on your page. All right, your text must be easy to understand, must be easily readable. All right, so the first part is about readability and the second part is focused mostly on SEO. All right, so we will get to each of them. Let's for now start with readability. First of all, when you create your page, at the top of the page on the right side, you see here there is the status for readability and SEO, which for my situation, both of them are good and green, right? But if you come down, if for you it's, for example, one of them is red or orange, you can come down here and start improving the problems that you have here. So let's come to the first one. At least on your sentences, you need 30% transitional words. Transitional words are like, here I have put the link for you, so you can come here and click on it. Transitional words are, for example, therefore, besides, that. These are all transitional words. At least in your text, in your web page, you must have 30% transitional words. All right, so this is the minimum. For my situation in my page, if you have paid attention, here it is, mine is 26%. all right, so I had to add 4 more percent to get all of these green and in the right way, right? All right, so let's go for the next one. This plugin Yoast itself, it will take out the text that we have wrote and it will put it in a test, flash reading ease, right? It will test it there. I have put the link there. It will test it, and your score, here are the scores. If your scores is between 0 till 30, your text, your copy is readable only by university graduates, right? It means that not everyone have the ability to understand what you have wrote. If you use some difficult words to understand, some technical words, it will decrease your score, right? So be aware of that. If you get a score between 60 to 70, it means that your text is easily understood by 13 to 15 years old students. And if you score between 90 to 100, your text is easily understandable by an 11-year-old student, right? In my situation, I got the score 72, which is easily understandable, easily readable for the people who are my target. So if your target are, for example, children, you should be aware of this. If your target is, for example, university graduates, you should be aware of that. So here, if you get, for example, 20 and you are writing about something scientific, that's all right. Okay, so the next one is talking about subheadings. Now, what are subheadings? So let's come here. When we want to add text to our, let's say, web page, let's come to, for example, here, right? I'm gonna click on edit and let me increase the size. So here, if I select any text here, it is telling me the type at the bottom of the screen. Here it is written P, it means paragraph, and also you can see that the top part here, it is written paragraph. So we have different type of text here. We have paragraph, heading 1, or it is called also H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So your text must always have H1, H2, and H3 and 4 inside it. Okay, so you should be careful about that. For example, here, this keyword validation, it is H3. Now, I can show you there are some other texts here that are H4. For example, here, this is H4. Let me show you. All right, let's come up here. This is H3. This is the main title in this part for me. And here, this is H4. You can see these are called, these H4, H3, these are called subheadings. And when you are writing a text, after, for example, 4 or 5 lines, you must have a subheading to increase the readability of your web page. All right, so this is one of the important things that you should consider all the time. So the next thing that we have to pay attention is to not write a long paragraph. Right, it means that if you write a paragraph which has 15 lines in it, you will have a problem in readability. It will make it harder to understand and read your web page. So you should avoid that. The next one is try not to use sentences that have more than 20 words. Right? You can use it in some situations, but the number of these sentences shouldn't be more than 25% of your text. So in my situation, for example, you can see here 22% of the sentences contain more than 20 words, which is less than or equal to the recommended maximum of 25%. So maximum, the limit here to have sentences that have more than 20 words is 25%. And if you have less than number, it is perfect and fine. So the last thing that we have to pay attention in readability is passive voices. So in my situation, I have 3.7% passive voices, which the maximum is 10%. So I'm good, but it is better not to use passive voices. Now you may ask, what are passive voices? So here I have put the link. Just click on it. It will provide more information, but just to practice, here are some examples of passive voice and some better alternative to change this passive voice. So as an example, this product can be bought in our web shop. The better option is to say customers can buy this product in our web shop. Okay, now we are talking about users, right? Before we were talking about the product itself. Okay, it has the same meanings, but our focus in the sentence is different. The bags are checked by a security employee. A security employee checks the bags. You see, you feel the difference, right? The right column is easily understandable. They both have the same meanings, but the passive voice, it is a bit harder to understand. So pay attention to this. If you have, if you wrote a lot of passive voice in your copy, try to fix them, work on them, just change the places, put the people who do something at the beginning, and start your sentence that way. All right, so this was more or less about readability. Let's go for SEO steps that we need to consider here on our page. So the first thing that we have to pay attention here is that our first paragraph in our web page must have our focus keyword in it. All right, so this is number one. Number two, the exact match keyword density. It is very important that when you're writing your copy, and let's say, for example, in my situation, my focus keyword is SEO tutorial, the minimum number, the minimum amount, the minimum percentage that I can use my keyword, my focus keyword in my copy is 0.5%, as you can see here, right? This is the minimum. Lower than this will affect your SEO, right? It is much better to use it more, like for example 2, 3, 4% of your text include your focused keyword, but please do not come lower than 0.5% because this is the minimum, right? The next one, meta description must contain our focused keyword. So before we talked about it, we've seen it here. We have SEO tutorial, right? Let's go for the next one. The focus keywords appear in one subheading in your copy. I had 21 subheading. The minimum is 1. In one of them, my focus keyword must appear. The next one, the images on this page contain alt attribute with the focus keyword. Now, what does that mean? So here we are. Let's open one of these texts here. Okay, for example, this one. Let's say I want to add an image here, right? I'm going to go to the next line. Here I'm going to click on add media. And let's say I want to add one of these images, right? I'm going to add this one, for example, okay? When you want to add an image, you have the ability to write down an alt text for it, okay? So here I have written some keywords as an alt text for my image, and inside it, here you can see SEO tutorial, which is my focus keyword. All of your images must have. They both must have. First of all, when you upload an image, don't just upload some random name, like for example, screenshot 12 or AAA. This kind of, don't upload this kind of images with these kind of titles. All right, write down a right title. Use keywords, important keywords for your image name, and also use the same thing for your alt text because it has a SEO effect on your page. And this way you're good to go. You can insert your image into your web page. All right, so let's go for the next one, which is the text contains 2,790 words. This is more than or equal to the recommended minimum of 300 words, meaning your web page minimum must have 300 words. All right, lower than that it is not recommended from SEO perspective. So next one, it is very important to use internal and external link, inbound or outbound link on your web page. As you can see here in my web page, as we went through it, there are a lot of internal and external, not internal, we will get to the internal part. There are a lot of external links here. For example, here we talked about meta description. You can just come here, click on the text, it will take you to some other website, right? So it is very important to use links in your website. Now, both of them, we are going to talk about backlinks later, but right now we are just focusing on the links that exist on your web page to some other website. It will help you a lot. It will help your page to rank higher in SEO. As you can see, we had a lot of links along the way, and if we come down, it is written the exact number here. In this page we had 32. I think it's more, it's before, because after this I have edited the page. So let me just come here. All right, here it is. On my web page I have 50 normal outbound links. All right, so it is very good, it is very useful. Try to do it all the time. Whenever you are writing something, whenever you are writing a copy on your web page, try to explain everything using external links. All right, now if you pay attention here, this page has one internal link. Okay, it means one of these, I think it's here. All right, this one, cognitive biases. All right, this is the link. I can click it, I can click on it and it will open another page, but it will open a web page inside my own website. These are also important. Let's say you have, for example, 10 products or 10 blogs that they are connected to each other, but you are writing it in a different view. You can, when you come down, when you're writing about something, if it is connected to one of your other blogs, you can simply just write down the link there, so people can click. For example, here I was talking about that in your meta description you can use cognitive biases if you know what are cognitive biases. And for example, if you don't know, you can come here and click on it. It will open another page in my own website, right? Here I have a video. It will explain one of the cognitive biases for you, and etc., right? So same as external link, internal links are also important. Let's come down here. We skip this one. The SEO title contains the focus keyword, which before we talked about it. Here is our SEO title, which include the focus keyword SEO tutorial. So we are good to go. Let's go for the next one, not the next one after that. The SEO title has a nice length. Now the length is important. Before I told you, you shouldn't use more than 70 characters. And that was about the length. The focus keywords appear in the URL of this page. We talked about it before in the snippet part. Here we have SEO tutorial in the link. And the last one is that you shouldn't use the same focus keyword in different web pages on your website, right? Each web page must have their own different and unique focus keyword, right? So pay attention to that. More or less that was all. There's some other thing that I want to point out. Let's go to the top of the page. There are some other things which is called unordered list. As you can see here, there are, for example, you see our bullet points. You see there are some dots, and in front of it there is a text. Using these are really useful because Google somehow will show them. For example, you may search for some specific question on Google, and Google will exactly show you these bullet points, these unordered lists. So try to, at the top of your page, usually try to use unordered lists. I have tried to use them along the way. As you can see, this is, for example, these ones that have a number is ordered list, and the ones that are just dots are unordered lists. As you can see, I have used a lot of unordered lists on my web page. For example, let's make a search on Google, and I will show you how these ordered lists or unordered lists will appear on Google. I searched for different terms, different keywords here until I found this example on Google. So as you can see, I searched for how to bake a cake, and you see here are the steps. And if I go to this website, I will see this ordered list on their website somewhere, right? So more or less that was all the rules that we have to follow from SEO perspective on our web page to get a better successful in ranking in search engines. I know this lecture became a little bit long, but we needed to talk about all this stuff. And on the next lecture, we are going to talk about backlinks, which is very important on SEO. See you on the next one.